So now looking at the 10 prongs that 10 criteria that EB1A has, can you give us a point by point example of how sports people can interpret those 10 criteria?
And I'm like, yeah, that's one criteria. There's like a 9 other criteria. You have to meet this.
In your experience, which is the most difficult sports related profile that you handled and why?
So let's say award. So if you are a man of the match of a national tournament, so let's say IPL.
Of course, there's a strong American football presence, no doubt, and baseball. But what about for games like cricket or some sport which is very, very popular in the rest of the world but not in the US?
So that's why like playing is one part, and then they can also show that, hey, I'm a very good cricketer, I'm a very good soccer player. They can organize some training camps.
So when you are arguing for one-time achievement for any case, right, be it sport or tech or whatever, how long is that case? I mean, it's you just say like, hey, look, this is the achievement, that's it.
So let's say you were a member of World Cup winning team. Let's say last soccer World Cup was won by Argentina. So if you're a member of the team, but you do not have any personal achievement.
How do you handle this then? You don't know who is reviewing this case. So is the answer to this just to make it as strong as possible, or are there any tips and tricks that you have that help you mitigate this?
Until today, all of our cases that we even thought like, oh, probably this one-time achievement will meet and probably he or she will get green card.
Hi, Mr. Mahajans. Welcome to the Smart Immigrant Podcast. Our previous episode was such a hit. There were a lot of traction. People started sending us a lot of extra questions as well to have covered with an attorney. So I'm glad we are back. What was your impression of our previous episode, and what do you think?
It was great. Yeah, it was great. And we also got some calls, some email from other people. They watched our video. Yes, it was a big success for our end too.
Yeah, and more than people reaching out, I'm glad that we were able to bust a lot of myths and give a lot of very tangible information out there, which actually people need, right? In this era of a lot of misinformation and confusion, misinterpretation of existing information on EB1A and all that. But today we'll shift gears. Last episode was more of a tech-focused episode. I want to discuss a little more on the sports side in this one. The main reason is because we get quite a bit of clients who are in the sports area, but then sports area is slightly less, it's the volume of clients are generally less, and it is a little bit niche. It's different than tech. Not a lot of extraordinary profile that people build in tech is the same thing that they can build in sports. So let's just dive deeper into this. So generally speaking, from your experience, which are these countries from which people who pursue extraordinary ability category like EB1A or even O1A in sports come? And can you give us a broad overview of how they can approach this process, and then we'll kind of dig deeper into different things?
Yeah, of course. And so there's a fundamental difference between tech industry and sport is that tech industry is kind of saturated, with all due respect, everything, all the recent, firing and everything. And it requires a job. So you must have a job in like in a Microsoft, Google kind of corporation. Sport on the other hand, American sport industry is kind of, this is just the starting of opening up. Traditionally, American sport was like an American football, which is totally different from the soccer and like baseball and basketball kind of things. But now, which is like the football, which is soccer, is kind of gaining more and more popularity. So there's a huge boom in soccer industry here in America. Similarly, cricket. So American cricket is kind of like in the starting age at this moment. It's like kind of like a starting at this moment. So there's a huge opportunity, for people from India, Pakistan, West Indies, South Africa, those cricket playing countries. They can send their talents after their retirement in their home country. They can come to America and they can get green card and play here. Similarly, many other sports, not only just soccer and cricket. American like a sport industry is booming because people are more and more careful about their health and wellness. So a lot of parents, they want their kids to go to coaching, like soccer coaching, cricket coaching after their school. So there's a huge demand for athletes, like athletes in general in American market. So that's why the short answer to question, I see a lot of African and European soccer players coming to America after their retirement from their home league. So especially Nigeria and Ghana, there's a lot of soccer players that are coming to America from Portugal and Spain. Portugal and Spain, two giant soccer playing countries. So many of their players, after their retirement, they come to America under EB1A. So those are the main countries where people are coming from.
So when people come to the US, obviously under the EB1A or even O1A, they need to show that they intend to continue in their field of endeavor after entering the US. So in this case, when they are already retired in their home country's leagues or teams, how do they prove that they are coming to the US to continue in the field of endeavor? Now that becomes a little more challenging when the sport is not played in the US. So maybe soccer is an exception. There's a lot of interest even in at the school level in soccer, that I think there is a pretty strong soccer presence in the US. Of course, there's a strong American football presence, no doubt, and baseball. But what about for games like cricket or some sport which is very, very popular in the rest of the world, but not in the US?
Yeah, so the thing is, like European soccer, it's very competitive. Lot of players in their, let's say early 20s, like when they're 22-year-old, 23-year-old, they cannot get chance in their national team. The same player, they're probably retired from their first division in, let's say Spain. They're retired from Spanish first division, and they move to America and they play in American national soccer team, or they're like in a very famous, like like Los Angeles team or Atlanta team or like a New York team. So they make way more money. It's more prestigious than their home country, because in their home country there's a huge competition. Similarly, if I give you an example about India, so let's say one Indian player, let's say 23-year-old or 24-year-old, he probably did not get chance in like IPL, not even like national team, not even IPL. But if that person moved to America, he can easily play in American national team. So that's why like playing is one part, and then they can also show that, hey, I'm a very good cricketer, I'm a very good soccer player. I'm also going to teach, as a coach. Also, they can show organize some training camps. That's also possible. So you have to continue working here in America, and your work must have significant value. So you're going to substantially benefit America. That you have to show. So let's say a cricket player from India, let's say 25-year-old, retired from IPL because he did not get chance. He moved to America. He's trying to play in American national team, and then he also opened a cricket coaching for kids in, let's say, in Los Angeles, and also he is hosting like a friendship match between Los Angeles and New York, and he is displaying cricket as a sport. So every sport has some cultural connection, background with their home country. So how cricket was originated in England, it spread it all over the world, and now it's coming to America. So there's a story behind this entire journey. So he is not only playing cricket, he's not only teaching cricket to young folks, also he is making America culturally rich with this rich history of cricket.
Yeah. And cricket is a very interesting example because a lot of Americans, I feel like, they want to know about cricket, but they find the rules way more complicated. Although baseball is a similar looking sport, but I think there are way more nuanced rules in cricket. So now, looking at the 10 prongs, that the 10 criteria that EB1A has and the 8 that O1 has, right? We interpret it differently for tech people. Now, can you give us a point by point example of how sports people can interpret those 10 criteria?
Exactly. So in a sport, it's sometimes it's different. It's in some prongs, some items is difficult, but some items is easy. So let's say award. So if you are a man of the match of a national tournament, so let's say IPL. If you are a man of the match of one game in an IPL match, that's great. Then you meet the first criteria, award. So it doesn't have to be like you know um, like a super big, like international awards. If it is an international match, let's say there's a game between Australia and India, and you played in the national team, great. And if you are the man of the match, or best player of the tournament, best bowler of the tournament, best batter of the tournament, best fielder, that's great. But even if you win a this kind of thing from an IPL tournament, or even other national Indian national or other national tournament, then yes, you meet this criteria award. The second question is publication on you. So if you are a man of the match of a tournament, like a national tournament, definitely a lot of newspaper, they are going to cover this information. Your name would be there. A lot of television will take your interview. Immediately after the game, some journalists, they take interview. So you meet this second criteria. Third criteria is you are a member of a group or organization that is prestigious. You cannot do it by yourself. You must be invited. So there is a saying that players who scored a century in an international match, they are like a member of a group. So if you made a century in a tournament, so we can say that you are a centurion in a centurion club. Or let's say you got like a 5 wickets in a tournament, so you are in a 5 wicket team. Those who made, let's say, 5 centuries and total like 30 wickets, then you are in a club. So those are the, but if we go to quick info, there's a lot of statistics like that. We can show all those statistics in our EB1A application, and those are really helpful. So this membership in a group, we can easily measure it. Also, judgment of the of others. So a lot of time there is a there's a bowler hunt competition, batter hunt competition, like those kind of competition hosted by cricket boards, or even like soccer. There's a lot of soccer competition for young folks to pick up the young talents. So if you have been invited to the judgment of others, that then you meet this criteria. And so it doesn't have to be like like judgment in the sense of like music competition or drama competition. Those are different. Every industry has their own structure, own system, and we just have to say that, hey, this is the standard for this industry. And our client, Mr. X, he has been requested to participate as a judge panel to pick up the best pacer for South African national team, or let's say English national team kind of things, or under 19 team kind of thing. So he meets this criteria. Similarly, publication, like academic scholarly publication. So most of the cricketers, or like soccer players, basketball players, or even other athletes, they may not meet this criteria. So we tell our prospective clients, hey, how about take some time, get ready. So you as a soccer player, how that transformed you as a person, because every sport has, not only is a sport, not only is a vehicle to make money, but it also transforms you as a person. So how this game helped you as a person, or how it shapes the psychology of a person. Write it in a way, and then try to publish it in a journal, because there's a lot of sports journal. And read 2 or 3 journals, try to write it. Sometimes you can take help from others. You can be a co-author. So let's say a sports journalist and a soccer player from let's say Ghana, they come up together and they wrote a academic journal. So second author, third author, fourth, even fifth author is also okay to meet this criteria. So it's not very common for a sports person to write academic journal, but it's possible. So that's how people can meet this criteria. Also, original contribution in an organization. So let's say one Kenyan cricket player. He started a team for young girls, like girls under 19, because he believes that girls need to be strong. They need to more involved with this sport. They need to learn how to survive. All these things. So he started a girls cricket team, like a club, and he's training young girls to be better player. And the player played a significant role for this club. Then you can say that I have a significant leading or critical role for this club, for this organization, for this tournament, to make it very popular among girls in Kenya. So they meet this criteria. Display of your work. This is very easy for a sports person, because anytime you play any game, not only you play in a big stadium, but also it is broadcasted through television, radio, YouTube, all this media. So display is a very common thing. Making money, like you get significantly higher salary than your peer, is very easy for sports people, because they literally make a lot of money. And then I think these are the 10 criteria. Probably I did not forget any of
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
you get the idea. So these 10 criteria, when US government, USCIS, they made it, they knew that it's not only applicable to one industry. Every industry has their own requirement, own system. Like for example, in the field of science, there's a Nobel Prize, but there is no Nobel Prize for sport, right? FIFA has a annual award ceremony. ICC has some annual award ceremony, but not everybody will qualify for that. Even if you receive award from your own cricket board, that's also okay. So all we need to show that this person is an extraordinary ability person in his or her industry, her sport, in his or her country, and he or she is the top in her community. That's it. Then if we can meet just three, that's enough. But sometimes, I recommend my clients like try to make at least five, because sometimes what USCS do, USCS will deny one or two. So if they deny like a two of the criteria, if you can survive with three, your case would be approved. And then on the top of this, this three or five criteria, then we go to the second analysis, which is you're going to continue your work here in America, and your work will add significant value to the America. It is going to be substantially beneficial to America. So when we handle this substantial benefit thing, we try to give a lot of data. Americans, they like data. That's why quick info would be really, really good. When someone playing soccer, how many goal they scored, how many did the passing, and how there's a term in America. It's called soccer mom. Soccer
Yeah.
moms are very very serious about their kids. They want their kids to learn about all the sports, being very physically fit, healthy. So we are going to support our athlete clients case with all this data, like how soccer become very popular in last 15 to 20 years, and how there's an upcoming World Cup going to happen here in America. So how that is going to shape the entire American cultural background, cultural history. So yeah, these are the things we will highlight in a application for athletes.
It's very interesting because the recent one or two sports related profiles that we got approved through a smart green card, one of them was like a golf player, the other one was a tennis one. And they, of course, they have the awards and the other things, some awards. I'm not saying like super major awards, but obviously in the context of the award that is given, there is a story there about like why in that very specific context it is a major award and stuff. But the point where their faces lit up was that for all their life they never thought that they could be authors, and we helped them get a bunch of papers published in a legitimate manner through all the achievements that they've done, talking about that, talking about extended use cases of it, where the sport is going, stuff like that. We had them figure out the topics as well. And it was an amazingly different experience for them. They enjoyed it because it's not just they are coaching people hands on, not just are they themselves achieving stuff, but they are exploring this whole academic environment, which can be a field in itself later on, right? Like a separate field that they can pursue in parallel, which may be lucrative financially as well. So it was one of our team's biggest achievements, that we introduced so many athletes into academia, which they never thought they would go into.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, in our previous podcast, we said if you have a very good website by yourself, all of your achievements, all of your information are in a single place, and the website is very nicely SEO done. So anytime a USCS officer, they Google your name, your website is the one that will come on the top, and they can get all the information. So Smart Green Card, your organization, you can build a website for them and get all the data, all the interview, all the information in one place. That will be very beneficial for this application. Another question I get all the time from athletes, sometimes they said, hey, I'm really in a prestigious position in my home country. If I go to America, I'll not be very popular. Nobody will know me. I really want to stay here in my home country. What I should do? So my answer is, you're probably a married person. You probably have a couple kids. How about you and your family get green card? Your wife and your children will stay in America. You will go back to your home country to play a game. And once you're done with the tournament, you can come back. So let's say a IPL player, he or she he is, let's say, US green card holder, lives in America, and he goes to India to play IPL. And when IPL is done, he can come back to America. So kids will go to school here in America, but he will go to India or other countries to play the game.
So he can make America his permanent home, and or primary home, and then keep traveling for all these different things.
Yes.
In your experience, which is the most difficult sports related profile that you handled, and why?
I will not say difficult in terms of any particular sport. Difficult. Most of the difficulties are sport people. They are not trained about law. This is equally applicable to all professionals. Sometimes we had difficulty making them understand that, hey, this is the requirement. It's not So let's say one person is a very good soccer player. Let's just say defense. He's a very good defense. And he said, "Oh, I'm the number one defense in the entire soccer world." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's one criteria. There's like a 9 other criteria. So you have to meet them." So sometimes we have difficulties to make them understand that for legal requirements are different from as a sportman requirement. However, if I answer your question directly, so at the end of the day, we have to show that you're going to continue your work here in America, and your work is going to significantly benefit America. So if there is a sport that is nobody knows here in America, so let's say there is a very uncommon sport in your home. Let's say it is very popular in your home country, but it's nobody heard about it in America. So it would be kind of tough sell. But then what we do, we lawyer, we kind of play with this thing. Then we bring the cultural impact. Like, oh, this sport is very popular. Let's say in Western Africa, like Kenya, Mozambique, and few other countries. There, it's very popular there, but nobody heard about this game in America. So if he can come here, it would be popular, and American diversity will increase. America will be introduced to this new game. So it's all about presentation.
And if the impact is cultural, that's still a valid impact. Because
Right.
most of even our tech clients, right? So they try to, when we niche down into exactly what their area of expertise is, they try to go so deep that they operate at levels which the USAS officer doesn't even understand. And
Exactly.
that's sometimes not good, because you need to speak the language of the officer. At the end of the day, that is the person granting you the benefit. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And cultural benefits. So, from a from a soccer player's perspective, probably culture is not that important. But from American point of view, cultural value is way more important than financial value.
I see. So now we've talked enough about group sports, like team sports, right? Is How does it change when you're talking about individual athletes, like track runner, or swimmer, or let's say a javelin throw, or discus throw, these kinds of roles? How does your argument change? Is there any difference per se in people who perform in track and field events in an individual capacity versus like team players?
It's easier for them. It's easier for an individual person, because at the end of the day, when we submit EB1A application, we talk about a person. We do not talk about a team. So let's say you were a member of World Cup winning team. Let's say last soccer World Cup was won by Argentina. So if you're a member of the team, but you do not have any personal achievement, then USCIS is not going to give you EB1A just because you are a member of a soccer World Cup winning team. You have to show your capacity, your achievement. So it's very easy for an individual person. So let's say you're a runner, you ran a marathon and you got the best, the fastest person in that competition. So it's very easy. So if there's any kind of individual sport, and if the person, let's say, participated in Olympic, got like gold medal, or a bronze, or a silver medal, those are easier for us to present, because all the achievements, all the publication, everything is for his or her own achievements. Nothing is team performance. If it is a team performance, it's kind of harder for us, because we have to highlight you as a person. We cannot highlight. We will mention about the team, but it's not going to help you that much.
But still the officer can come back saying, hey, this is for the team, this is not for you. We see that happening a lot with tech clients as well, where they win some amazing award actually,
Yeah.
and they are responsible for the team winning that award as well. But then the RFE then says that, hey, this is for the team, this is not for you. So
Exactly.
then there's like a lot of additional documentation and defense of that's needed. Now, speaking of EB1A, there's two ways that the government has laid it out, right? So either you should have a one-time achievement award. If you have a one-time achievement award, then you don't really need any of these 10 criterias, like maybe a Nobel Prize, something like that. Or you need to meet 3 out of these 10 criterias, and one among that is an award, but it's a lesser nationally or internationally recognized award. So do any of these sports awards qualify under that one time achievement, and how do you even differentiate this one time versus the 10 criterias and stuff?
Yeah, so we had one client. She won gold medal in an Olympic tournament, and that was like one time achievement. That's enough. Even though just to be on the safe side, because we didn't want like an RFE or something. That's why I said, hey, I think you meet this one-time achievement requirement, but let me go through this 10 criteria because I don't want to work second time with your case. And she said, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So I think winning a gold medal in an Olympic tournament, or if you're like the captain of a World Cup winning team, like in a cricket team or like in a soccer team, I think that would meet the requirements for one-time achievements in the sport.
So when you are arguing for one-time achievement for any case, right, be it
Mhm.
sport or tech
Mhm.
or whatever,
Mhm.
how long is that case? I mean, it
It's
ends
very
like it's just you just say like, hey, look, this is the achievement. That's it.
Yes, but that's why we do not stop there. Until today, all of our cases that we even thought like, oh, probably this one-time achievement will meet and probably he or she'll get green card just by doing this. I still go to the 10 criteria. So my argument is USCIS, he meets this criteria, he should get green card based on these. However, if you disagree, here is my second argument, and then I go through the 10 criteria.
Got it. Got it. Um, Overall, how have you found the affinity of officers towards sports related profiles? Because we've heard a lot of course, there's a lot of approvals in the tech side, and touchwood, a lot of our cases get approved without issues, even the cases that we work together on.
Mhm.
But there are still a rising number of RFEs, rising number of pushback in the whole tech area. One, maybe because the officer doesn't understand the case
Yeah.
properly, but also mainly because there are a lot of low quality cases that the officer ends up getting, and then they draw these patterns about like repeating awards and repeating judging and stuff like that, and then they issue the RFE, which they should, in my opinion, because it is an extraordinary ability visa category. Have you noticed any such kind of pattern tracking or trends in the sports area, given that generally the applications are relatively lower, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the number of applications are lower, and also USCS officers and judges. There's an office is called AAO, Administrative Appeal Office. So if there's any case get denied in USCIS, we can appeal against that. So we had a seminar, part of like there's an annual conference. It's called AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, and there's a one particular event. There were EB1A judges from AAO office, and we had like a very open discussion. So USCS officers and judges, they think EB1A was designed for sports people, like
Okay.
actor, actresses, sportsmen, these kind of people, not for STEM professionals or other thing. Their opinion is for STEM professionals and others like EB2 NIW is more appropriate. However, since there's a lot of application from STEM field and there's a lot of approval, which is good, but a lot of USCS officers, they still feel like sport, media, like movie, music, art, those are the main those were the main focus when USCS designed this EB1A application. So short answer to your question, there's a less number of application, the higher number of approval in sport and movie and music and art than STEM field.
So it's very interesting that the standards that they apply, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know if this is because of a lack of training or because of a lack of clarification, which a good thing is that USCIS is doing now in the policy manual updates and clarifications and stuff. I think recently there was one out for STEM professionals, right?
Yeah.
But they try to force apply the standard of a certain profession to another profession, and I think that is where they kind of start making a lot of mistakes, the officers themselves. Like, for example, they start applying even within tech, they start applying an researcher profile methodology, analysis methodology, to like an industry profile methodology, and then they'll start looking for citations, whereas extraordinary ability in the industry doesn't really need citations.
Right. Yeah.
Similarly, and that happens across the board, right? Like, for example, when I was applying for my green card under EB1A, that was that brief period of time when President Trump brought back they stopped issuing interview waivers. So they brought
Yeah.
back interviews for employment based candidates, and I had to go in for an interview, and the officer was kind of clueless for the most part, because
Yes.
these officers are really good at evaluating marriage based cases,
Yes.
and they haven't been trained since a long while, because employment based EB green cards were always waived of their interview. And I go there and sit there, and I could see him kind of apply a marriage based template to an employment based green card interview, and he was confused about, like, okay,
Yeah.
what do I ask this guy? And then we
Mhm.
kept going on these different tangents, but I could sense that those questions, have you seen that happen a lot? And
A lot.
does it extend across like all sort of officer behavior?
Yeah, yeah, it happens all the time, and especially the one who examine like EB1A, NIW kind of cases. Sometimes our understanding, and not only just understanding, we hear it from USCS director level position that they struggle a lot to hire people. USCS is one of the largest number of US department in terms of population, in terms of the employee, and they struggle a lot to hire the right people to understand. So let's say you are a STEM professional. You're working for Google, Microsoft. You have like a master's degree, PhD degree. You did so much work, and random guy, with a sociology background will be very difficult for them to understand. No offense to sociology or anything. I'm just saying it's a different field. So yes, it happens all the time.
So how do you handle this then? You don't know who is reviewing this case. So is the answer to this just to make it as strong as possible, or are there any
As
tips and tricks that you have that help you mitigate this?
we try to make the things as easy as possible, because at the end of the day, we do not know who is going to read this profile, this case. So we try to make it as easy as possible. At the same time, we try to make the reader excited. We try to use a lot of words that sounds like it's like a like a commentary, cricket commentary, like a soccer commentary kind of. We try to make it so easy, so fun for them to read. We use a lot of like boosting words, like, oh, this person is going to change America. America is going to be benefited. There'll be $10 billion profit. America will gain in next 10 years. So try to like a very common, like day-to-day words, very exciting words, very easy for them to understand, and make our client someone like special, someone special in their eyes. And we always focus on American benefits, no matter it's a requirement or not, because at the end of the day, they are American, we are American, we all want America to be like a better place. So that is kind of our selling point, that immigration is going to benefit America. There's a huge political debate about immigration. So we want to make USCIS officers believe that immigration is good for America, and this particular client is good for America too.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm really looking forward to your presence in our next episode as well.
Same here. Just last word for our audience, like those who are sports person, athletes watching our video now or later. So my request to you is that when you come for U.S. immigration, please come with an open mind, because your setup, your mental setup, your physical setup is very sport oriented. Law is totally different. So trust us. Me as an attorney, Simon as your consultant. Trust us. Trust our judgment. Trust our expertise. We are going to help you. Come up with an open mind. We are going to help you get ready, and then we'll apply for you.
In my entire experience working on EB1A green cards and running Smart Green Card program, helping a lot of people get EB1A green cards, I keep working on a lot of tech profiles. Although we do have some people in the movies, some people in sports that come to Smart Green Card, a lot of our profiles inevitably happen to be tech. Although we do have some successes in these other categories. I wanted to make a dedicated episode where we are talking only about sports, and this was that episode. I wanted to do this mainly to help people who are in the sports area, which I know there are a ton around the world. I wanted to do this to help them out, and I hope you had an amazing time watching this episode as well. And in case you are in the sports area and you need help, please reach out to our team. We have helped several people in different sports get their EB1A green card, and we are ready to help you too. We are partnered with a lot of law firms. As you can see, Raju Mahajan is one of those, and we will pick the right law firm for you. We will make sure that your case is as strong as possible and it is able to be a winning EB1A profile. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a lot more other episodes which are offbeat, with attorneys, with approved folks, a lot more such episodes. Until then, this is Simon Shetty from the Smart Immigrant Podcast signing off. Peace.